Have you ever wanted to make a homemade blanket that is so stunning, people are shocked that you made it? Today we're going to talk about the top 5 must-make crochet blankets for 2025. These crochet patterns are guaranteed to take your crochet game to the next level and impress everyone who sees them. Not only that, they're easy to do. Blankets aren't just accessories for your home. They're also heirlooms and a really great place to showcase your crochet skills and your creativity. From beginner-friendly patterns to intricate designs, there is something for everyone. Before we get started, I'm going to go grab delicious. So good. Hope you have something to sip on, something to crochet on. Definitely get a piece of paper to write down what projects you want to be working on. I'll link everything in the description box below. And let's get started. First up is my first masterpiece blanket. It'll be yours also. This is the polka dot. I better stand up to show you. This is the polka dot blanket. Flat circle polka dot blanket with stacking shell border. Isn't it great? Yes, it does look like a twister. I love it. This is made just with Kenyan acrylic back in the day. This is from before I found ice yarns, but the colors are just fantastic. I love it all so much. This is version number 2. I made my first one and the colors were a little bit wonky. I didn't have a big yarn selection back in the day. So this is my version number 2 that I turned into a tutorial and also picked colors specific for this blanket. So this is queen size. It fits over top of a queen size mattress and the border hangs down on each side. Can you see that border? It's cute, right? It's really cute. So this is my first, but don't go and watch the tutorial. And I'm going to tell you why. If you can see around these circles, I did a little row of single crochet. I wasn't sure, well, I was trying really hard. So I put a little row of single crochet around there. And long and short, you just didn't need it. So I did an updated tutorial. This is the tutorial to follow. Just make it into a blanket. Follow this tutorial completely. Look at this. Da, da, da. Isn't it great? This is the PAINTBOX wrap or bed runner, only because I already have 2 big polka dot blankets. I did not need to make another one. But I love this one. It's so great. So all I did is for each color of the rainbow, I just found 3 shades in my Yarnery that I had on hand. They don't have to be perfect. So 3 shades of the pink, the orange, green and yellow. I did a couple of the blues because I had lots of turquoise that was really pretty. And then the lavender on one end. Are you ready for the best part? Yes, you are. Look. Look at the border. Isn't that delicious? So it's a bed runner, but you can also just pick it up. Oh, I should have worn this to go make my coffee. Or just throw it over your shoulders and go make your coffee. Isn't that fun? Like if this lady was shopping, would you not want to go and talk to her? Like you'd be like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. It's adorable. So this is a bed runner or a wrap. The border is great. It's a circle, it's a polka dot join as you go pattern that I love. So this is the tutorial to follow. even if you want to make it into a blanket. I love you, Frank. Who knows Frank? Frank's coming over. Come here, Frank. Frank, this is Frank. Hi, Frank. Why he's called Frank? From, I think there's a movie called It's Frank. But in the movie, it's not a great movie. Like, it's not stellar. It's not horrible. It's not stellar. It's just a movie. But in the movie, the characters go to a log cabin and they have a dialogue. They're talking. And in behind one character, he's leaning against a sofa. You see straight up this kind of dull brown Afghan. And you're like, oh, you can see every stitch. You can see the pattern. You can totally see it. Behind the other guy, he's leaning forward, being like, oh, yeah, da, 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 da. This amazing, you don't know what it is because it's blurry. But behind him, amazing something, you don't know what it is. So I wanted to make something in those colors of whatever was behind that guy. And this is what happened. Look at that. Isn't it so great? I'll show you from back here. Now I do have tails to still sew in just on the ends because after you put on the border, there's more stitches to hide those. But they're all done in the middle. This is now, I would not put these colors together if I hadn't seen it on the back of that armchair. I would have, like, it's turquoises and funny oranges and stuff, but isn't he great? The problem with Frank needs to go in a timeout. It's kind of like a marriage. If this blanket takes a while to make, you have to make all the circles and then join them together and then sew in all your tails. And there's a lot of tails. So every once in a while, you got to put Frank on a timeout and then come back to Frank. But Frank is worth coming back to. Every time you come back to him, you're like, oh, I'm so close. Like, I still have to put the border on. I did the most amazing border. I took pictures of it, thank goodness. They're in my Google Drive somewhere. And then I frogged it back to film it. And then something happened. I couldn't film it. And now I don't have the border on the edge to see exactly what I did. I'm going to have to go and look in Google Drives, find the picture, and try to remember. I'll have to recreate it before I jump right in. But I did a whole bunch of different borders for Frank. And one was like, okay, that's going to be the border. But now I got to remember. I got to find it and remember what I did. So this is Frank, queen size, work of art. Also, I also got a comment being like, oh, didn't you copy, what is it, Janie Crow? No, I didn't. I made my Frank way before hers. So if you're thinking I'm a little copycat, I'm not a little copycat. Thank you very much. I'm not, straight up. But isn't that great? Also, what I like about this pattern is it's not joined like in boring rows. I didn't want to do boring rows. It's joined like that, like 1960s wallpaper. And then the edges are what do you say? Evened out, filled in. Isn't that cool? So that's Frank. Love you, Frank. So my advice for Frank, do all your circles, like do all your centers row by row. So if you're making like 80 circles, do 80 centers, 80 row number 2, 80 row number 3, blah, 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 so that you have them all done. Then sit down, you put your circles into stacks of 6. So 6 circles, and you put on a show or a podcast or a YouTube channel, just saying, and sew in your tails just by stacks of 6. And then when you're done your 6, you're like, oh, look, I'm done my 6. And then if you want to take another stack of 6, go ahead and do it. But don't sit with a whole big pile and then get 6 done and be like, oh, I have so many more to do. I didn't get anywhere. Divide it up into smaller chunks first and tackle those ends of Frank. Love you, Frank. What do I even start with? Okay, this is also great. Thank you. This beauty here is Secret Stitches CAL, We did this in 2021. Also, I only have my tails to sew in on the edges, waiting for that border. I haven't figured out a border for this one yet. Each block is a different stitch, a different 1-row repeat, and then it's all joined together in this beautiful join. So you learn a lot of different stitches, and you also join together squares that have a different stitch count. So you don't have to be like, oh, every stitch counts the same. We even it out. We got a plan. We worked it out. So this would also look great. Well, the good thing about it, you just do one square, and then you do another square, and then you do another square. Then you edge them all in the white, and then you join them. So it's step by step, super easy. All at once, a bit overwhelming. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't make a queen size blanket. Yes, you can. Totally. It also would look great in one color for the squares. So you just do each different stitch. It would highlight the beauty of each different stitch without the color taking over. So I also did a version of that, but I haven't joined it together yet. So this is Secret Stitches CAL 2021, although the perfect masterpiece blanket to make in 2025. Next, our beautiful Bloomscape CAL. This was 2023. Bloomscape CAL 2023. So what we did for that, it's exciting, right? A different flower granny square each month. So we did 12 granny squares. I did two of each flower. So there's 24 squares in here. Also super easy, join as you go. You got to see it. It's fantastic. Now I did just unfold this. So the little daffodil needs to get straightened out. He was pressed. So there's daffodils, roses, zinnias, pansies, and at the back, see, they all are a real granny square. So it's not like we make flowers and stick it on. They're not appliques, they're really flower granny squares. All in there. Sunflowers, chrysanthemums, hibiscus. Look at that pretty one. So this is a gorgeous blanket to make. It is a masterpiece for sure. Another easy join as you go style, but the stitch count all matches for this one. We don't have to fudge anything or correct anything. Daisies. So this is gorgeous. You can make it any size. If you did one of each flower, it would be like a toddler size blanket. Or you could pick your favorite flower granny square and make that flower in all different colors. You could even do smaller squares if you wanted to. This whole square design is just so that each, well, so you have a masterpiece at the end of it. So this is definitely a must make for 2025. Now, if you are still here with me hanging out, but you are like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. That's too big, too much, I'm a beginner. I can't manage the stress of a huge blanket like that. I have one for you. So this blanket here, still huge, still huge, still a masterpiece, but it is an easy 1-row repeat with no ends to sew in. This is the Speedy Granny Ruth Crochet Bedspread. You will have a bedspread done before you even, like, stress-free. You'll be like, oh my gosh, it's a bedspread, I did it. Yes, you can totally do it. So it's double crochets, chain one, skip one, that's all I gotta do. There are no ends to sew in. We make cute little tassels down there at the bottom. Those are cute, right? It fits over top of my queen size bed with massive drape. The thing about this blanket or the bedspreads is you want them hanging over the edge, the side, each side of your mattress about this much. So you get like a really gorgeous bedroom in no time at all. So this yarn I used baby alpaca, all these fancy yarns. So I bought that denim blue and that dusty pink, the fuzzy ones. Those are baby alpaca. I bought, before I had kids, I'm like, oh, when I have kids, I'm going to make baby blankets from this yarn. And yes, it is gorgeous. It's so pretty. So I was knitting back then. So I knit half of a few blankets a few times. And then No. I'm like, I'm not doing it. So I frogged it back and used it for a Speedy Granny Ruth bedspread. It's so heavy. You know, like that feeling of putting your feet under something that's like lush and heavy and great. Yes, it's like sleeping at your grandma's house. It's so good. So this is the easiest crochet bedspread pattern you can make in 2025. It is a huge blanket. You just chain from one side of your bed, from down about 10 inches on one side, up and over your bed and about 10 inches down on the other side, and then start the pattern. So easy to customize to fit your decor, your bed, your size. And I hope you enjoyed that. So what was your favorite? Which one are you going to start? Which one scared you and what scared you about it? And which one have you already done? Tell me everything about it in the comments. We'd all love to hear about it. And stay hooked. Oh my goodness, those are so good, right? Ah! I didn't think I had so many blankets. Like, are we joking right now? That's a lot of blankets. I haven't even, there's a lot of blankets. Oh, were you looking at these? Those ones back there? That's coming up in another video, but I'll link it in the cards. Stay hooked.